If you are making these Pinterest mistakes and using these outdated strategies, this is why your account is not growing, especially mistake number 11. So make sure you stick around for that. The Pinterest algorithm is constantly changing and we need to change with it. So that is why you should stop repinning other people's content. The old rule of thumb was to pin 80% of other people's content and 20% of your own. This is no longer the case. In fact, your account will do just fine if you pin 0% of other people's content. Now, that doesn't mean that repinning other people's content will hurt your account, but really you want to be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to be repinning just for the sake of it. If you see someone's pin and you think it has really valuable information that is going to help your audience, then feel free to share it. But if you're just scrolling through nail art ideas and your content is based around yoga, you might not want to be repinning that content. I personally pin pretty much 100% of my own content. There's only 2 separate occasions where I will pin somebody else's content. And the first one is when I am creating a new board. I will pin 10 to 20 pins from other creators in order to make the board look filled up. I also like to have some secret boards on my account, like I have a secret board for my vision board where I can pin whatever content inspires me and whatever I want. It doesn't hurt your account to have this. It doesn't mess up your stats. It doesn't get shown or pushed out to any of your followers, and nobody else will be able to see it but you. So if you want to be able to pin nail art to your heart's content, just do it on a secret board. The second mistake I see people making is having irrelevant boards. You need to stay on brand and in your niche when it comes to your Pinterest profile. If you want to use Pinterest for fun, go for it. But make sure you either create a separate account for that or you do all of your personal pinning on secret boards like we already talked about. Because if you're pinning about cute dogs, vacation trips, and Pinterest marketing tips when your niche is in beauty, you are confusing the heck out of Pinterest. Who would they be showing your account to? Dog lovers? Travelers? If your target audience is supposed to love makeup, then pin exclusively about makeup. Imagine for a second you are walking down the street and this street vendor gives you an ice cream sample and you love it. So they tell you that their store is down the street. But when you walk into their store, they hardly sell any ice cream. They sell burgers and shrimp and pizza and back massages. I don't know. They sell everything but ice cream. That is how your Pinterest account looks to potential followers when you are pinning to irrelevant boards. You can also make this mistake by having too many boards. You do not need to have 6 boards on the same topic. Let's say you're in the cleaning niche and you have a board called Clean House, Clean Home, Keep Your House Clean, and Clean Your House. You do not need that many boards on the same topic. It is better to pin to one hyper-relevant board that is fully keyword researched than it is to post on 6 half-done boards that all mean the same thing. The next thing I see is using outdated strategies or no strategy at all. If you are just pinning whatever you feel like, whenever you feel like, and you have no real rhyme or reason for what you are doing, that is not going to grow your account very quickly. Or if you're just simply using outdated strategies like these. Or maybe you're a little bit more organized and you are pinning with some care, but you still just have no strategy and no idea what you're doing and you're not seeing results on your account. You're just simply stuck. I get it. Pinterest is not an easy platform to use and it takes a lot of strategy to gain traction on the platform. Now there are way more tips and advice than I can give you in this short video. So if you are looking for a strategy that is just done for you and you can follow step by step, I highly recommend checking out my Pinterest course called Pinterest Simplicity. I go through my strategy that I'm currently using to work on my account and my clients' accounts as well. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link down below in the description. Now back in the day, pinning to group boards is the place that it used to be. But now it's a huge mistake to be pinning to them. I still see a lot of accounts that have 30 to 50 group boards that they're a part of on their account. Sometimes they have more group boards than they have actual boards for themselves. Now you used to be able to get a lot of traction on group boards, but that is no longer the case. Pinterest sees group boards as spammy because they weren't intended to be used as the pin for pin style like bloggers tend to use them as now. Now you may be able to get away with pinning on a group board if it has a few different qualities, like a low amount of contributors but a high amount of followers. It doesn't have a lot of rules, and it is hyper-focused and super specific in your niche. But you are honestly better not wasting your time pinning to group boards and just pinning to your own boards that you have created. The next mistake is using low quality pin images. You want to be picky about the images that you use on your pin. Pinterest has said that they can detect what is going on in your pin image, so you want to make sure that it is relevant to whatever it is that you're pinning. If your pin is about planners, then you want the picture in the background to include planners. Pretty simple. But you also want to make sure that you use high quality images. And don't use the same image too many times because it does matter. The best image to use on Pinterest is one that you've taken yourself. It is 100% new. Nobody else but you has ever used that pin image. It's the same logic that they have with fresh pins. They want fresh content on the platform. So if you are the photographer and you are taking images that have never been shared by anybody, that is likely going to get you the best results. However, that is obviously pretty unrealistic. If you are bad at taking photos like me, or you just simply don't have the time or energy to take all of your own pin images, there are some other solutions. For example, like using stock photo websites. They have a few great ones like Pixie Stock, but unfortunately those you do have to pay for yearly. But that honestly is the next best option because with Pixie Stock and other sites like it, they are constantly updating what images that you can use and adding more to the platform so that you're always getting brand new and fresh images. And the amount of people using those images is significantly lower because you're paying for it as opposed to using a free Canva photo or something like that where a bunch more people have access to use it. I personally am not a part of any of these paid stock photo websites because they are really expensive. However, I did some research and I found a site called Ivory Mix. They give away free stock images every single year and have a library of free ones that you can use already. And I noticed that they even have free guides and ebooks that you can get as well. Now, I'm not an affiliate for this. There is no catch to this. This is just a really cool resource that I found that you should really know about. So I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. Now, as for a last resort, I use good quality images on Canva Pro. I pay for Canva Pro because I use that platform literally every single day, and they give you a lot more options when you pay for the Pro version. Of course, you could also use the free one, but as I said, more people having access to those photos means that image is probably going to be used more and will do less good for you on the platform. So you want to be careful when using those. The sixth mistake is not using idea pins. Now, idea pins are Pinterest's version of story pins, which they used to be called story pins. They've changed it to idea pins now, and they're just like every other platform that you see. Now, I even make this mistake myself, honestly, as I don't post idea pins as often as I would like. So this is something that I'm really trying to fix and get into idea pins a bit more. Now, Pinterest idea pins get significantly more reach than just regular Pinterest pins, at least in the short term. Idea pins get a lot of views quickly, but then they die off and they don't get as many views. Whereas regular pins take a long time to take off, but once they do, they have a longer shelf life than idea pins, and you can get views from regular pins for years to come if you're lucky. So you really want to get a good mixture of both. But I do recommend that you post idea pins less than you are posting regular pins. The regular pins should take priority. One of the biggest but most understandable mistakes I see people making is not pinning consistently. If you're not consistent on the platform, you're not going to see results. Simple as that. I say this in pretty much every one of my YouTube videos. Pinterest is a platform that takes a lot of time to gain traction on. You not only have to be consistent, but you have to be patient as well. If your pin designs aren't getting a ton of views, give them a few months and even a year sometimes, honestly. Not all pins that you post will give you a ton of views, but the few that do pop off and go viral are going to be able to give you views consistently for months and months to come. We're gonna roll with it. I see her in the background there. We're gonna roll with it. So just keep at it and don't let a few pins with 0 views get you down. The next mistake is not utilizing SEO. It's how your pins get ranked in search, how they know where to show your pins on the home feed to the right people, and the reason essentially that you're going to be getting all of your views. You need to understand Pinterest SEO if you want to be successful on the platform. Get your pins to rank and you will do significantly better. I talk about Pinterest SEO a lot in my Pinterest course, but I also talk about it a lot on other videos here. So if you're struggling with Pinterest SEO, there is a ton of resources on my channel to help you out with that. The ninth mistake is not creating click-worthy titles. If your titles are boring, uninteresting, and they don't catch the reader's attention, they're going to keep scrolling. You need to do your best to use power words and make people actually want to read the content behind your pin. You can have the most amazing blog post with the most fantastic information that is going to change somebody's life, but if that title does not interest them, they are never going to know about it. So make sure to take some time and really craft the titles to be the best that they can be. You can use a free tool like Headline Analyzer, which is what I use for all of my titles. I'll leave a link to that resource down below. And make sure you switch up your titles often too. You do not need to have the same title on every single Pinterest pin, and it does not need to be the same as your blog post. In fact, I encourage you to switch up your titles to avoid people getting bored with the content that you're sharing. Just make sure that your title isn't so outlandish that you were just flat out lying or it's going to clickbait the reader. Next is not pinning enough new content. Pinterest loves fresh new content. We know this. So we need to make sure we are giving Pinterest just that. Produce as much new content as you can and promote it as often as you can on the platform. Now, this doesn't mean producing so much new content at the detriment to your sanity or the quality of your content, but you still want to be producing as much new content as you can. For me, what I try to do each week is launch a new blog post, and I'm working up to trying launching 2 new YouTube videos every single week, and then here and there I will post a YouTube short. And then my YouTube short will be repurposed on Pinterest as an idea pin. Each piece of new content I create gets 3 to 5 new pins created for them and pinned onto the platform. So that is a ton of new content each week that I am sharing on Pinterest. All of the other pins that I do are old pins that Pinterest hasn't seen in a while. So I just rotate out old blog posts and videos. This keeps Pinterest happy and pushing out your content. Now, this is the biggest mistake that I see Pinterest users doing all of the time, and it is not manually pinning or using Tailwind to schedule out your pins. It has been known for a while that you should not be using Tailwind if you want to get the most reach for your Pinterest pins. Yet I still get people commenting when they come onto my videos that this is the first time that they have heard this. And I don't blame them. I know that I was late personally to the manual pinning party, but in all honesty, manual pinning is the way to go, and it has been that way for a long time. So make sure you are not making these mistakes anymore. And to learn more about Tailwind and why you shouldn't use it anymore, check out this video right here. And I'll see you next week. Bye!